years now, since 2010, going on 16 years. I mean, we all have our journey, we all have our things that we get started into and whatnot. I started really getting into video and film and stuff when I was in high school. So when I was about 15 or 16 years old. I'm 35 now. So when I was 16 back in 2006, I took a video class and I fell in love with it. There's a big movement right now for filmmakers to forego festivals just because of the cost and the traveling, and you're not guaranteed to get in, to just put their films up on YouTube and let and see what happens. I mean, you have that young kid who made who's directing a film for A24, who's 20 years old, all based off of his YouTube series that was on the back rooms on YouTube, all based off of that, which is incredible. So there is no right way. You just have to find your way. So I think the lighting right now that you're seeing right now, this is my style. This is my style. I love film noir. I love, you know, high contrast. I love harsh lighting. I like intense lighting. I think it's a thing of the past, unfortunately. So I'm trying to claim that as my own and bringing it back into the projects that I do. So I think for a filmmaker who is unsure of to find their style, you're totally good with mimicking what you do. I mean, Tarantino's made a career out of doing that, out of mimicking what he loves. I'm of the believer to have it, to have your script done, to have it done. I've done both. I prefer the one of the script being done rather than making up as we go. But I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna say this. I might get a lot of flack for it, but that's okay. I'm a huge fan of Zach Snyder. I really do think he is like one of the best visual directors there is, paired up with Larry Fong, his cinematographer, for a lot of his work that he's done. He has made like some of my favorite films that are just deeply personal to me. Uh, that I prepared to have stuff like these. All right, so these are like the two dualities of these things. You get it? Like Taxi
Yeah.
Driver and The Last Temptation of Christ. Like these two are
There you
amazing,
go.
with Harvey Weinstein doing his influence of getting, getting out, gathering his votes and everything. I think that's something that a lot of people don't really know is like you pay to bid.
Hey everyone, this is Abhi from No-Budget Filmmaking Podcast, and here with me is wonderful Dave. Hi, Dave.
Hi, how's it going?
Good. For our audience, would you like to introduce yourself, Dave?
Absolutely. My name's Dave Nelson. I'm a director, cinematographer, editor, writer, producer, have multiple hats just like many of us filmmakers out there. And I am currently, showing my co-directed and produced film Memoria Obscura at festivals currently with my co-director and co-producer Connor Ryan at Electric Dragon Films. Yeah, him and I, we're just trying to make as much really great filmmaking and great art and entertainment in the sphere of what's going on in film right now. So yeah.
Okay. How did you get into it?
How did I get into it? Well, I've been a filmmaker, like professionally, so to speak. Yeah, professionally for about 15 years now, since 2010, going on 16 years. I mean, we all have our journey, we all have our things that we get started into and whatnot. I started really getting into video and film and stuff when I was in high school. So when I was about 15 or 16 years old. I'm 35 now. So when I was 16 back in 2006, I took a video class and I fell in love with it. I fell in love with just the whole craft of editing. I think editing is like the first thing that I really got into. And I just really enjoyed it. Made a bunch of stupid videos with my friends, made some really crazy stories, ambitious stories as a 16-year-old, and just have been just trying to do it ever since then. And have been fortunate and lucky enough to still be doing it now, both on a creative level and at a professional level in the sense because currently right now I work at a marketing agency as a videographer, like a cinematographer, videographer, and video editor. So it's a lot of just, regular type stuff that you see on TV or that you see online. So fortunate enough to be in that, but also moonlight and on my free time, try and create as much, fun entertainment type stuff, film stuff when I'm not doing my regular job.
Okay, two questions. First one is that uh, since you said your film is in this festival circuit, uh, if someone new is like a 16-year-old, for example, is seeing this, what should they know about it beforehand?
Sure. Well, I think the first thing is to have a story and go out and make it any way that you can. I mean, what's great about right now is that it's so easy. It's so much easier now to make any type of entertainment, whether it's music, video, film, what have you. It's just right at your fingertips. And you just go out and use your phone. You'd be totally fine. And you can use the audio off of the phone. There's nothing wrong with that. So that's the first thing is make something. Second thing is to go on Film Freeway. I think that's generally the most accepted way to get into film festivals. And you have to upload your video, upload your film, provide a bunch of information and whatnot. But it's pretty simple. You can go on YouTube and find how to do it step by step, or you can use ChatGPT, whatever you want to use to kind of get the information that you want to get your film up there. And you can just search for, first time filmmaker festival or free festival. I mean, especially if you don't have any money when you're starting out. I mean, that's a big thing that a lot of people, especially if you go to film school or you go to a community college for film, they don't really tell you how much a lot of the stuff costs, the back end of things. They just tell you the creative side of it, not necessarily the capital side of it, of to provide money to produce things. But like I said, you can find free film festivals, or even, if you're at a college or whatnot, most places that have a film program or a video type program, multimedia program, will have like some sort of showcase for you to show your movie or your episodic kind of TV show or whatnot, or anything of that nature. uh, you can find an audience, you can find a festival out there that will showcase those types of beginner filmmakers. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I think the best way to go about it is to look for something local because they'll ask within the questionnaire most of the time is where are you located? Was this filmed in our area? You have a better chance of getting accepted if you're in that area and it's a local film like produced in that area. So I think that's one big thing in helping getting accepted. We've gotten rejections, in some festivals that I thought, oh, we're gonna get in because we really, what we feel that we produce. We're very proud of what we produce. We believe that we're gonna get into. I mean, I believe we're gonna get into every festival, but that's not necessarily the case. In some instances, I do believe it's based off of the judges. Honestly, I really do. It's based off of the taste of the judges on the most recent festival that we went to, which was the San Diego Short Film Festival in San Diego, which I live pretty close to it. Um, the head director there, James Kirby, mentioned to me when I first met him, he's like, I love sci-fi. I love everything about your film and everything, and just the craft of it. And I was just the music, everything, the vibe of it. So he was really impressed by it and really took it all in because that's the type of genre that he really enjoys. And he also enjoys animation. So I think it's on the taste of the judges and the acceptance of like overall, like, is it is it the vibe of it? Is it the story of it? Is it the craft of it? There's many different things that it's being critiqued on or judged on. So I think that has a lot to do with it. And I think in some instances, I think festivals, the bigger they are, they can only accept so many films at a time. So I really do believe at the same time, it's hard to narrow it down and it's hard to accept all of them because, it's not possible. It's not feasible because otherwise the festival would go on for days and days. And it's not within it's not within the budget for them to be able to provide that for filmmakers. So we have gotten rejections and the emails being sent out saying, unfortunately, we can't accept your film despite it being, well crafted and the passion and everything else within the film is there. Um, we had to pass on it, but here's a waiver code that you can submit, for the next time, when you have your next project, you can go out. So, I mean, there are instances of that. There are some emails that you get like, I'm very sorry, we weren't able to accept it. Don't be discouraged. And that's kind of it. But the festivals that do see it and like see the potential of it and just like, okay, let's see what you got the next go around and let's see if that gets in the next time. So I think it kind of goes with that. As far as the importance of it or the value of going to festivals or getting into festivals. This is our first real one that I've actually been to in a very long time outside of one that I went to like in 2011 when I was just getting out of college, to where I felt really proud because getting into this type of festival, I think it was amazing because you get to network, and you get to connect with other filmmakers that you see their passion for the craft, for the art form, and just see all the different stories from not just San Diego, but the United States and the world. I mean, there were tons of other films there that weren't from the United States, and I love seeing that. And if you're a real connoisseur of film and the art form, you'll watch anything from anywhere because everyone has a story to tell. And I'm a true believer in everyone has a film in them. And I encourage everyone to make a movie, at least try and make a movie at least one time because you get to see how, for one, that you're able to do it, and two, how difficult it is, and a miracle that any film gets made in in any capacity just because it's such a big task to take on, whether it's a tiny 2 minute 3 minute film or whether it's a 3 hour epic. There's a lot that goes into it. So I think there's value in going to a festival and meeting the filmmakers, getting critiques from other filmmakers because they know what it takes to produce something, and just and even their guests there. I mean, to see people who just like movies and film, for them to see it and for you to get feedback that way too, and just kind of, and it also inspires you too. It's just like, okay, our film's good, we're proud of it. However, you get that drive to want to go out and do more. So I hope that answers the question. Gotcha. Yeah, I think so. The feedback the feedback is good. I like getting feedback. I want, because I've seen the movie so many times and it's like I already know all the nuances and everything else. Just given with anything because I've lived with it so long, and it's just like I want to see it with fresh eyes. So seeing with an audience, you get fresh eyes on it. You get fresh perspective. Um, and as far as like not wanting to go to festivals, yeah, you don't have to. I mean, in a lot of regards, there's online festivals. I mean, you can get straight up feedback immediately if you post on any of on Instagram or TikTok or YouTube or X or any other type of platform that allows a video to be shown. You can get immediate feedback there. It's just a matter of the algorithm catching it and it taking it off, or you titling it correctly, or you putting the right description, or it catching fire in some type of way. You'll get feedback immediately. I know there's a big movement right now for filmmakers to forego festivals just because of the cost and the traveling, and you're not guaranteed to get in. to just put their films up on YouTube and let and see what happens. I mean, you have that young kid who made who's directing a film for A24 who's 20 years old, all based off of his YouTube series that was on the back rooms on YouTube, all based off of that, which is incredible. So there is no right way. You just have to find your way in order to get to where you want to go.
Okay. On that note, a lot of people will say, I don't know my way. I just saw Spielberg or I saw other
Yeah.
Scorsese and I just try to replicate it. And I did a
Yeah.
good job or I did a bad job. So in your experience, how did you find your way? Like, what's your niche or what's your style?
So I think the lighting right now that you're seeing right now, this is my style. This is my style. I love film noir. I love, you know, high contrast. I love harsh lighting. I like intense lighting. I think it's a thing of the past, unfortunately. So I'm trying to claim that as my own and bringing it back into the projects that I do. So I think for a filmmaker who is unsure of to find their style, you're totally good with mimicking what you do. I mean, Tarantino's made a career out of doing that, out of mimicking what he loves and, applying that to his writing, which I think is his strongest suit, honestly, is his writing. His directing's good too, but he's found his style in homaging directors and films that he loves, the genre films and directors that he loves. And I think for a young filmmaker, I was like that too. I mean, I love Robert Rodriguez. I think he's a huge inspiration for me. And, I think finding like-minded people too who share your passion and your drive to go out and make some crazy movies or some crazy, short videos or whatnot. I think that's kind of where you gotta live and you gotta find it and you gotta claw your way your out of your own way, essentially, because there's going to be self-doubt. I mean, I still doubt myself when I make stuff, but you got to work through it in order to get past it to get to the end result. And a lot of the time it's the sitting around and doing nothing, you know boredom, and thinking about, okay, what's the next thing that I'm going to do, or going for a walk, or going somewhere and not even thinking about any movies or any stories or anything else like that, and just kind of experiencing life as it unfolds in front of you and just like daily kind of things. Because sometimes, like, I'll tell you this, like, I had an idea for a short film while I was um, going to the festival, like the pre like the check-in part where you have to collect your badges and stuff like that. I kind of got stuck in the garage because it's my first time being there. The parking garage, I parked in the wrong area and I couldn't get to the elevator and I had to go up the stairs, like the emergency staircase kind of thing. And it was kind of freaky. And I was thinking this would really be terrible if I got stuck in here. So I kind of was like thinking about, like, I can make a movie about this. I know there's a film, can't remember what it's called, but it's kind of like the same similar kind of thing. But I thought, like, it'd be kind of interesting to make a film about this, about being stuck in a stairwell trying to get to an important place while the clock's ticking, kind of thing. So, like, just taking experiences that you have gone through. And I think that's kind of something that I was told in film school, is like, write what you know. And I think I think people take that advice the wrong way sometimes. They take it as like, oh, I'm going to write exactly about what my life is going through, like the same character, the same words, the same people. And it's like, no, that's not what that means. What it means is write what you know, is write the emotional feeling that you know, and write what that feeling is when you go to a job interview and you're nervous and you don't know if you're going to get it, but you're going to try and do everything that you can to get it. That's your want. Your want is to get that job. And the person doing the interview is preventing you from getting that job. They're the obstacle. That's your antagonist, you know? So that's like that kind of thing that you have to think about. And I think watching films too, watching older films, I'm not talking about anything that's come out in the last 20 years or 25 years. I'm talking about stuff that's come out in the last 75 years or 80 years. You got to go back to the beginning and watch film and see the evolution of it and to see how it's changed and how everything is pretty much just being repeated, but just kind of like shifted a little bit. So I think that's how you find your way. Find your niche, find your genre that you love, and kind of live in it for a bit, and then start to experiment outside of it and kind of put that spin on genres that you don't like and try and make a genre that you don't like and see what happens, see what filters through your head and comes out in the end.
Yeah. Moreover, like challenge yourself sometimes. Don't settle in your
Mm-hmm.
style and everything. Uh, what if, and one more comment I want to make about the things you said when you say write what you know. I was interviewing a couple of writers, and they always say that you can write what you know, but you can set it up. You can write a story about family that you have went through as a child, but you can set it up in space. You know what I mean? Like you
Yeah.
can just go
Yeah.
weird with it and add all the quirks in so that it just does not feel like it's something you went through. So that was really good. I love that um,
No,
statement.
absolutely. I agree with that too.
Okay, but there's a trap in that, and I fell really hard on that trap. Is that when something becomes style over substance? Sometimes it just becomes too
Mm-hmm.
much style. Have you ever
Mm-hmm.
faced that?
Yeah, I think I think because it's such a visual medium that we kind of get stuck in the look of something, you know. As a cinematographer, that side of my brain works out a lot. I think of like look wise, like, okay, what's the look of it? What's the feel of it? What's the environment of it? And the style, usually that's like front and center because it's a visual medium and that's where your eye's going to go and that's where you're going to want to live in. But yeah, the style can kind of get ahead of yourself. And if you don't have a story, and that's what films are, they're stories, visual stories, you're gonna have a difficult time. Um, it's interesting in the sense of like let's take like Gladiator for example. They were writing that movie as they were shooting it. And they didn't have a story. They had a rough outline of something, but they were just writing pages the day of or the 11th hour until they hit the set. So they're you can make a movie that way, but if you got like millions of dollars, you can do that. But I mean, you can also do that too without that. I mean, you can just kind of ad lib and just kind of go with it. I mean, it's not like we're on film or tape anymore. You just gotta, clear out your cards and your data and whatnot. But I mean, that's a style too, like ad libbing something or whatnot. Like with Ghostbusters, the 2016 version, I know that they did a lot of ad libbing on set, and the director really loved it because they're all very funny people. But I don't think the film benefited from it because there was too many options. There wasn't like a structure for it to really showcase the story. Um, but yeah, for myself, yeah, I have probably earlier on focus way more on the style rather than the actual substance of the film. Like I relied too much on my editing to figure out what the story is from how much shooting that I did on a film rather than sticking with a structure and shooting to edit. Rather than like I'm just shooting so much that I'm gonna find it in all the all the takes and all the different angles and everything else that I have. That's not a way to do it. You need to have your story. You need to have your structure. You need to have everything kind of figured out so that way you can shoot it to have all the pieces that you absolutely need. Maybe add some extra stuff here and there if you have the time. And then once you're in the edit, you'll have your film very close to what you wrote and maybe some leeway to kind of change it or rearrange it. That'll make it even better. So
Okay, what's your thought on okay, there's two ways. One way is that I will not even sh do a single piece of production. I'm not gonna roll the camera. I'm not gonna film a single second until my script is all done and I'm happy with the script. And there's this other end, like, okay, let's just make it along the way.
yeah,
So, what's your thought on that?
I'm of the believer to have it to have your script done, to have it done. I've done both. I prefer the one of the script being done rather than making up as we go. Just because you think you're saving time in that way, but you're not. You're spending way more time trying to figure stuff out on the spot rather than, okay, here's what we have. Here's the schedule. Here's the shot list. Here's everything that we need to get the scenes done. Way more structured, saves you way more time. And I think that's sometimes young filmmakers don't really understand that is like the pre-production is where your film is going to really be made, not the actual production. It's the pre-production. You have all the pre-production done, figured out, your locations, what the lighting is going to be like. You go and do your test shoots for your lenses, the types of cameras you're going to use, the wardrobe you're going to use. Make that time because it's going to benefit you on production because then you can move a lot quicker because you already know what you're expected to get, what you want to get. So yeah, for sure. Finish the script, get that done, and not make it up as you go.
Okay. But okay, I just remember one thing when we were talking about style over substance. I was thinking about director like the first director that came into my mind was Zack Snyder. He's if not he's one of the if not the best visual directors of our time. His visuals, every frame is looks like a painting, at least to me. It's really gorgeous, but most of the time his stories takes a back seat, right?
Mm.
That's what trap a lot of people fall into. So sometimes I think by doing your method, like making the script really solid, have a lot of eyes on it, that can help you not go too much into the production side of things or even post-production. Does that make sense?
It does, but I'm gonna tell you I'm gonna say this. I might get a lot of flack for it, but that's okay. I'm a huge fan of Zack Snyder. I really do think he is like one of the best visual directors there is, paired up with Larry Fong, his cinematographer, for a lot of his work that he's done. Those two guys together, incredible team. Um, but I do want to like say a little bit. I do think there is story within his films. Maybe not all of them, but I do think there is some like really good story elements going in there. It's a very much like you'll blink and you'll miss it kind of stuff. It's like very little, like tiny little things here and there that like if you it benefits to watch them more than one time. I know it's a lot for some people, but I watch his movies at least, a couple times a year, maybe sometimes three times a year, just because I'm like, oh yeah, like I missed something, or I just really enjoy the the mythic epicness and the size of how he makes his character. His character is larger than life. It's very much of the mythic element of it, in which it's very much he's very much in the idea and vein of Joseph Campbell, A Hero with a Thousand Faces. That's kind of like a blueprint print for a lot of his stuff. That's kind of like really layered in there, and I think he kind of does that on purpose with whatever screenwriter is doing, is whether he's hired on as a director, as a hired gun, or whether he's in development with the script and the script writer. So I'm going to defend him a little bit on this
Mm,
podcast.
No, no, no. Please do. Please do. And again, I love 300. I loved Watchmen, even though I was obsessed with Watchmen and 300, to be honest, when we
Yeah,
first saw. I was a kid back then, but yeah, I
yeah.
was in so much in love with it. The thing that turned me off was when he made a lot of choices with the Batman and Super when he took over DC. I think that's what we started like feeling bad about
Gotcha.
it. And even though I like his other movies that didn't made much business, and even a lot of people don't understand the themes, Sucker Punch. Have you seen that
Mm.
movie?
I That's on my list. I haven't seen it yet. I mean, I just kind of like I just kind of just put it on the back burner. I think his original stuff, like Army of the Dead, there's
Yeah.
a lot of potential in that one. I don't think it lived up to what it could have been. Like my own head, like in my own head, I think I had a better sense of like what could have been. I think a lot of people had that idea too. But I know Sucker Punch is like pretty controversial in the sense of like choices that he made, but the themes within it are really interesting. It's just a matter of not kind of like getting to where a lot of people kind of expected it to go. Am I correct in that?
Yes, it has a lot of heavy theme, like really heavy theme, and he took this fantastical aspect of it. It's like I don't know how to say it. It's more like Alice in Wonderland mixed with you hype it up, you masculinize it with action and all this on steroids. And there's also a lot of theme about female, the gender war that gender equality that women feel. And I don't know, like it's a really fascinating movie, but the thing is that a lot of people don't like it, and the themes for a lot of people didn't felt like they were a little bit half-assed, or
Gotcha.
the best word that he everyone uses from it was pretentious. The
Gotcha.
I'm sorry, I'm not saying it to be mean, but that's the one
No,
word everyone
no.
uses for him, is that sometimes he's really pretentious with his themes. So,
Gotcha. I can understand that. I can see that. Kind of reminds me of, have you ever seen Hearts of Darkness, the making of Apocalypse Now?
mm, no, unfortunately,
Check
no.
I recommend to watch that and check that out. It delves deep into that kind of whole thing. So there's a part in the documentary that Coppola's wife, she filmed the docu, she filmed a lot of the stuff like behind the scenes and everything. And there's a recording of Coppola just kind of having like a hell of a day, like having a real hard time because he's spending his own money on the film, and he's talking about how I need, it's this story, this film. It could be pretentious, but sometimes it's got to be that way because that's the only way that the story can be told, and sometimes that story is the only way that can really be, put forefront and for the audience to kind of like see what it is rather than like trying to like layer it and everything. It has to be that way, and if it's going to be that way, it's going to be that way. I mean, again, I'm like paraphrasing, but he said something along those lines, and it kind of like stuck in the back of my head. Is like sometimes, when we make films, we're not saving anybody's life physically. Let's say we're not doctors, we're not psychiatrists, we're not first responders in any of that regard. However, there are films, and there are, personally for me, and I'm sure personally for you, and for any filmmaker, there are films that have greatly changed our lives, in more ways than one, and have just kind of clicked in us that like changes your perspective for yourself, for the world, for other people. And I think in that way, you know, what some people may say is pretentious, other people say, oh, it's great art. You know, it's that same kind of thing. And that's what I love about film. My co-director and producer partner, Connor. Me and him talk about this all the time. It's like something was just like we're it's such a fascinating thing about film and why we love film is because the different perspectives that everyone talks about. Like for okay, so I'll tell you this. It's kind of like when the same kind of thing with like Sucker Punch or Zack Snyder and that kind of realm is he loves Blade Runner 2049. I do not. He'll talk about how like the score, the visuals, everything, just the story and everything else like that. For me, it is an unnecessary sequel. It asks a question that didn't need to be asked or answered, and I think it does a disservice to the first film. Where the first film was one of my favorite films of all time, uh, and so we talk a lot about that in that same kind of sense. But I mean, I'm the minority in that sense of my feelings about Blade Runner 2049 because it's a highly regarded film in the last 10 years or so that most cinephiles and most people who are filmmakers love, and it's a well-made film, but as a story, doesn't do it for me, and that's okay because I think other people can enjoy it, and other people do enjoy it. Whereas for me, I have other films that they probably don't like, and, and that's okay. And that's what kind of goes back to the it's like circling back around. I mean, that's what's I love about film. That's what I love about this art form is what my eyes see and my perception is different from someone else's. So
Yes, absolutely. There are some movies that no one likes, but you will like. You know what I mean? And it's
yeah.
okay. That's the point. It's art is subjective, and this one thing I don't like about the current media scene in general. Like people are trying their very best to just impose their views and their taste on you. And I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
you don't need to. We can live. You can like something else, and I can like something else, and it will be okay. So I don't know. I
Absolutely,
love
I agree with
Blade Runner 2049, by the way. I loved it.
that.
But
I'm glad you enjoy it.
I enjoyed it because I think the same way I enjoyed Thunderbolts, as someone who has felt like there's nothing, no hope for someone, or you feel like really, really lonely
Mm,
sometimes.
mm,
That part hit me, and it was front and center in Blade Runner 2049 and Thunderbolts. And even though they are not the
yeah.
same quality, but again, it hits you somewhere, right? Right? And
Yeah. Yeah, no,
also,
it's the theme, right? The theme of it. Yeah.
yeah, and also like the when you're talking about the movies that changes your life is one movie that I always quote is The Secret Life of Walter Mitty.
Mm,
Have you seen that
I like that
movie?
one a lot. Yeah, I love that one. That one's really good.
Yes, and you'll be surprised. The critics hated that movie.
Well, critics are weird. Critics watch a lot of movies. They watch a lot of movies. I do too, but they also have a job to do, which is kind of strange. Like it's their job to like they can make or break a film in some regards, especially like Rotten Tomatoes. Do you follow like which aggregator do you like Metacritic, IMDb, Rotten Tomatoes, Letterbox? Which one do you have any like affinity to?
I would say Letterboxd because it's just so casual. It is no serious. That's why I like it because Uh, the thing is that I used to watch like IMDb 250. They have a list of
Yeah.
like 250 movies. I used to watch that
Hmm.
just because I don't know why. I thought like I should watch it if I'm pursuing
Right.
filmmaking. But when I saw the score of Walter Mitty and they said they give one of the reviewers gave it 2 star rating, I just lost it. I was like, are you looking at the same thing that I'm looking at?
Yeah.
So that's why I don't care about Rotten Tomatoes. I don't care about a lot of things because, for example, M. Night Shyamalan. There's good chunk of movies that are total trash, but there are some movies that are a lot of substance that were hated by critics. I love The Village, by the way. I love The Village. I love Signs
Yeah.
and
I
Unbreakable.
love those two. I love those two. Yeah, I love all three of those movies. I think The Village gets a bad rap. I think it's interesting with that movie over time. It's been what, like 20 years, 21 years since that one came out. I think over time it's gonna get more love, you know. But Unbreakable was like another one that wasn't really well received, but I love that movie. I love it, love it, love it. And Signs is, I think, is one of the greatest, like, of the like 2000s, like one of the best horror movies, like invasion type movies. So I remember seeing that in the theater and being terrified. I was like 12 when that movie came out. I was terrified, especially with the party scene. Ugh.
Oh, fudge.
Yeah, I think it's one of the best horror films of like the past, well, within the 2000s. I think it's one of the best horror films, I think, of the modern, like 21st century, I would say. I love the themes in it. I love just the feeling of it and just everything else like that. I think his Shyamalan's like first few like foray into like his like the films that he wrote and directed, I think are some of his best. After that, I don't think. I think he kind of now he's making, he's funding his own films, which I think is really cool, but I don't think they're as strong as his first like four films that he made. Personally, I feel.
What about Split?
Oh, Split, yeah, that's the exception, I would say for sure. That's the exception. I think Split's really good. I really like that one a lot. I never saw his the third one in that. What was it, Glass? Is that what it was?
Glass,
Glass?
yeah.
Yeah, I never saw that one.
Yeah, you're lucky, and I would not suggest watching that one either.
That's what I've heard. That's why I kind of, because I was like hoping like, it'd be really cool like to finish it out. Have you ever heard of like Patton Oswalt's like idea for like the trilogy?
No, no, I haven't.
No. So um I think what it was is like, all right, so it was Unbreakable, Glass, and then Shattered was his idea. Like you should look it up on YouTube, like Patton Oswalt's Unbreakable trilogy. Like he does like a whole thing of like, this is before Split even came out. It's actually a fascinating, interesting idea of what a trilogy would look like in an alternate world or universe. Have you? I think you'd enjoy it. I mean, it's pretty cool. I think it is, at least.
Okay, yeah, it is. And one filmmaker that is really talked about a lot is Kubrick, right?
Yeah.
During that time, he held the title of the most pretentious person.
uh I don't know, man. Kubrick's up there as like as one of my as I think he's the all time. I think he's the all time. I think he's on my map, like on my top list for sure. Like personally, I think he's on the top list for sure. At the time when he was alive, I think he was the greatest living filmmaker for me. For me,
Yeah,
So
absolutely. But
pretentious, pretentious. Yeah, I mean, kind of like the dude was crazy. Dude was crazy.
yeah, I
you know.
think mostly it was because of his shooting process. Like he used to take like a million takes, and he was really specific about what he wanted, and he would not let
Yeah.
their actors breathe. Oh.
It's funny. Sorry, I'm just grabbing something right now.
Hmm.
Oh, it's funny is that I actually just finished reading this earlier this year.
Oh, whoa. Okay.
So I just actually finished reading this, and I actually have taken upon myself to watch all of Kubrick's films this year. I'm doing a kind of a thing of watching 365 films this year, whether it's new films or films that I've seen before, but I'm just trying to watch 365 films this year. And I watched all of his except for last one I got to watch is Eyes Wide Shut. I'm waiting for the Criterion 4K to come out because I ordered it. So I want to watch the 4K version of it because I already have all his like the Blu-ray versions, but I bought all the 4K versions because I'm crazy like that. Um, but his thing, like with all the many takes and stuff like that, what he said was is like I only do that if the actor doesn't know what to do or the actor isn't doing their job. That's the only reason why he did that. He's like, if the actor shows up to set and knows their lines and has knows it back and forth and everything. I don't have to do that many takes, but if they're not delivering and they're not doing their job, then I'm gonna make them do as many takes as possible. Fincher's the same way too. Fincher does a bunch of takes, so I think he's probably even more crazier than Kubrick in that regard, honestly.
Yeah, he's all the interviews I've seen about him, everyone says he's the most meticulous director they ever worked with. Like he
Yeah.
goes into like deep, deep, deep detail, which is kind of weird. Funny enough, what was your first Kubrick experience?
My first Kubrick experience. It was in film school. No, it wasn't in film school. I took a summer class when I was still in high school, so I can get like credit, summer school credit or college credit or whatever. It was a film studies class, and we watched actually, yeah, we watched a bunch of different films, but the first Kubrick film that I like actually sat down and watched was A Clockwork Orange. So that was my first one, and that's a heavy one to watch. I was think it was like 17 when I watched that, so I think that's the
Ooh.
appropriate age to watch it. Um, yeah, it's a dark one. It was really dark, but man, it's just like he achieved what he wanted to. That's the interesting thing about Kubrick is that he tackled genre films and made the best versions of them. You know, like that's
Yeah.
an exploitation type of film, and he made the best version of it. I mean, it's violent, it's sexual, it's satirical. It's just packed with so much in it, and he accomplished, I think, what he set out to do with that one, which was like a big middle finger towards people that weren't giving him money, because he wanted to make that Napoleon film that he wrote that he labored over, and he kind of just like it was in between stuff. And I think he did that one after, yeah, he did that one after 2001. He did A Clockwork Orange, which was actually really quick comparatively because it took him 4 years to make, 4 or 3 years to make 2001. Then he made, Clockwork Orange in a few years, like 2 years or so. And then he didn't get to make Napoleon because of a film called Waterloo came out and failed, like failed box office wise. And then he made Barry Lyndon. Anyway, I'm getting sidetracked, but yeah, no, uh, he, yeah, that was my first experience. What about you? What about you? What was your first experience with Kubrick?
Full Metal Jacket.
Yeah, that's
And and again, we watched it when we were way too young, but the thing was that with me and my brother, we were dumb kids, right? And we didn't know about anything. But the thing is that from the first shot, from the first scene, we couldn't move our eyes. For some
mm,
reason, we were glued to the screen, and that for me was like his biggest quality. No matter what is going on, it can be hilarious, it can be disgusting, anything, but you cannot look away.
no,
Yeah.
for sure. And he had he had I mean, he was like 12, 14. I think it was 14 or 15 when he started working for Look magazine. Like he was a photographer for Look magazine. And I think that's where I mean he knew how to compose an image, he knew how to light an image, he knew all the technical aspect of it. Um, but absolutely I completely agree. Like you know it's a Kubrick film.
Yeah, but
Any shot, it's a Kubrick film. Any still image, it's a Kubrick film. Yeah. Yeah, they are, and that's what I like. He's just like in the chapter of this book, um when they're talking about he's talking about horror film. I think it was horror film, or might have been that, might have been no, it was sci-fi. He's like, what if somebody did it and did it really good? Like what if, like someone made like the best version of it. And that's just kind of like what he was. He's like he challenged himself to make that type of stuff. Even with The Shining. So I saw The Shining first. I saw the movie. I liked it. And then I read the book. The book is completely different.
yeah.
Completely different. Completely different. And I love the book. And I was like more on the side of Stephen King. I'm like, yeah, why do you ruin the movie and so on and so forth. But then, as I got older and I saw the film in theaters, I think it was last year, completely changed my perspective on the entire film. Like, as spoilers, if no one's seen the movie, towards the end, when Jack Nicholson is chasing Danny, his son, at the end of the film in the maze in the snow. I thought he was gonna kill his son. And
Oh
I've seen
yeah.
the movie two or three times before, but in the theater watching it, I thought, no, this guy's gonna kill this kid. It was the most frightening film up until that point. And I've seen so many different other types of horror movies, but for whatever reason, the eeriness, the off-puttingness of that film and how he shot it and the acting in it, which I know people say is over the top and everything, but it makes sense within the context of the film and the story. It's like it's top tier. It's amazing. It's crazy, you know?
Yeah. And on the other hand, he made one of the funniest movies ever made, which is Doctor Strangelove, or How I Started Loving the Bomb, or whatever the whole
Yeah.
title is.
Yeah. Yeah. No, absolutely. That's a crazy movie. Do you know the backstory behind that? Like how it was supposed to be a serious film? Do you know about that?
No, I didn't.
So, when he wanted to make a movie, because he was very obsessive about research. Like he knew so much about any given topic. So when he was doing his research for this thing, because he was very obsessive about the Cold War at the time. So how did he comfort himself? He read a lot of books about thermonuclear war, fallout, radiation, all this kind of the stuff. So he wanted to write a book, or not write a book. He wanted to make a film about it. So I can't remember the name of the book, but there was a book that he wanted to adapt. So he got the rights to the book. He was adapting it, and he had a screenwriter with him, and they were, trading pages and everything, and they were just trying to write it serious. But as they were going, it just was absurd. The absurdity of, yeah, you're going to survive nuclear fallout. You're going to survive an atomic bomb hitting a city. It's just like the absurdity of it is just like it just made no sense to him. So he's like, we got to make this a comedy. So one bomber gets through, and is going to hit their target. So what they end up doing is they make a trade. So the U.S. agrees, okay, since we can't stop this bomber, it's going to get to its target. It's going to destroy the city. The U.S. tells the USSR, you can bomb our city, the equal amount of casualties kind of trade kind of thing. So I think Moscow gets bombed, and then New York City gets bombed. So that's the trade-off. That's the film. I recommend watching it just to kind of see like the contrast terms. And it's made by another great filmmaker, Sidney Lumet. I mean, he's one of the best as well too. But Kubrick, being Kubrick, he told the studio, "You, I'm going to sue you if you release the film before my film. My film has to come out first." So they put an embargo on Failsafe. It didn't get released until I think the next year
Oh,
or
wow.
several months after Doctor Strangelove came out. And Strangelove's a satirical comedy. It was a hit. People were impressed by it and everything. It had a lot of push behind it. So when Failsafe came out, audiences were really confused. They didn't know whether they were supposed to laugh or if it was serious. It just really just changed the whole perspective. I mean, his film really changed the perspective in terms of like how to deal or how to watch like a serious Cold War film. But yeah, I thought that was really interesting, just like the inside like dealings of that. So
Most
yeah,
ironical filmmaker out there, if you look
yeah,
at it.
yeah. No, for sure, he absolutely is, and that's like the condition that he that he viewed upon humans. I mean, humanity. I mean, all of his films, if you look at them, it's all about the human condition and the um, like the structure of person or the civilized person being deconstructed or being pulled down or being, you know, almost being like feralized or being torn down to the most animalistic properties that makes us human. He was really into that. He really was fascinated by that. Like one of the quotes that that from the book was really interesting because he was really like he didn't really like to go out anywhere. He liked to stay at home. I mean, he made his home in England, his own like studio and whatnot between him and his wife. I mean, his wife had a large studio where she got to paint and he got to put in his own editing suite and have his cameras, have all this kind of stuff. So he just loved to stay home. But one of his quotes or one of the things that he told his wife was never, never be friends with someone who has like true power. Never be friends with somebody who has a lot of like influence and power because they're dangerous because you don't know what they're thinking because they're going to use you in some kind of crazy way, which kind of goes to like Eyes Wide Shut and kind of a way a little bit. Um, but like that's kind of like what his kind of like his mind was is just like people who have a lot of influence, you don't know where their morals kind of lie. Is it like in the manipulation of other people? Is it in for themselves to like that's how they feel like in control? It's kind of like going back to like what you like with Full Metal Jacket. I mean, these guys were trained to kill. I mean, on the helmet, born to kill, and then it has the peace sign, you know. So it's like the duality of man. I mean, that's what Joker is. He's the duality of the whole thing. He's there, being like a good soldier or like being like um, a young man in wartime, who's not there, who's there. Like, what is he there for? He's there to get the truth. He's there to report on it. He's there to also be in combat. Um, and the futility of it. I mean, just the whole thing in the ending of the film where the sniper is a young girl, and it's just like, what is this? What is this whole thing? What was this whole thing about? In the end, all these men were killed, but at, for what cost? Um, but he was that was this whole thing. It's just like the irony of it all, So fascinating. Just a really interesting guy, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's just as relevant as it can be in any given period of time, to be honest, if you look at it. You know what I mean? Like, it's just so
Yeah.
universal. And I guess that's why his movies are studied a lot, sometimes overanalyzed. But I think if you look at it in the crux of it is, as you said, it's more like human connection and what the best and the worst of humanity can be, if that makes
Hmm.
sense. And one of his favorite movies, I'm not sure if it is mentioned in the book, is Lolita.
Lolita.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's yeah, he delves into that. I think he wanted something controversial. He was really interesting in that kind of way. Which Lolita is actually like probably I'd say even more satirical than I think Strangelove is, honestly.
Hmm.
Interestingly enough. Have you seen Lolita?
Yes. And the book is way darker.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, I'm surprised he got away and even was able to make the film when he did in 1962, you know? Given
Yeah.
the innuendos and the suggestion of it all, crazy, honestly. Really crazy.
Yeah, and he was again satirizing the the modern American people that, oh, we are the civilized people, and then
Mhm.
obviously showed with the word that I cannot say because my YouTube channel will be banned. But yeah,
Yeah, no, I get what you mean.
but yeah, and all. on the other hand, feel like um, if you look at someone like Martin Scorsese,
Hmm.
he, on the other hand, is something that is quite fascinating, but you never see these terms thrown at him like pretentious or anything. It's always something like it is what it is. It never says it can one word can be said to him is about access. Access with an E, excess. Am I pronouncing
Yeah.
it right? Yeah.
Yeah. No, no, no. I totally get what you mean. Well, I love Scorsese. I think he's probably if I the one type of film that I would love to make, or like a style, like speaking on style, or just in the kinetic nature of how he works and the movement of his blocking and camera work and everything. I'd love to do a film like him, like his type of work, like in that same kind of vein, and also like the study of like the characters and stuff like that. Um, he has made like some of my favorite films that are just deeply personal to me. Uh, that I prepared to have stuff like these. All right, so these are like the two dualities of these things. You get it? Like Taxi
Yeah.
Driver and The Last Temptation of Christ. Like these two are amazing to me. Both written by Paul Schrader, who I think is like one of his best like collaborators and stuff. Those two films are like my top four on Letterbox. Those are my two of the four. The other two are Barton Fink and Barfly. Um, but Scorsese in the excess of what you're saying, absolutely. I think he's kind of like Kubrick in kind of a way in the sense of like the morality of humans. Like I guess like the Americana of like the United States like morality, which is like you said, like excess, especially like during like the 70s and 80s and whatnot, um, of his films, like Raging Bull um, or like Taxi Driver or like Mean Streets, like those kinds of films, and Goodfellas, like 1990, 1989, 1990, Casino, 90, so no, for sure. And then most recently, like Wolf of Wall Street, for sure with the excess. I mean, do you have a favorite Scorsese film?
Obviously, Goodfellas, hands down.
Goodfellas, yeah. You can't go wrong with Goodfellas. You really can't. And he was robbed of Best Director and Best Picture for that one.
Yeah, I'm kind of losing faith with Oscars too for last decade, to be honest. With this whole decade.
Yeah.
So,
Have you seen like on Instagram that they're gonna start doing their own like best like Oscar kind of thing? Have you seen about that?
no, 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 I have not. Please tell me.
Yeah, I just saw it recently. It makes sense. It really does.
Hmm.
Because the traditional way that people consume story and narrative completely changed now, way changed. Movies aren't what they were before. Nobody wants to become a movie star anymore. Everyone wants to be an influencer or a TikTok, influencer or a YouTube celebrity and whatnot. So pushing that and like making their own award for it, fascinating, really interesting. But I agree, like the Oscars or the Academy Awards, they don't have the same kind of feel that they used to, even like the past 10 years. I completely agree with that. Especially the last Oscars,
Yeah,
like this most recent one, it's not really a fan of it.
yeah.
You know?
It was more like a lot of Oscar baity movies got nominated and they won some of it, which is just uh, which doesn't make sense to me, honestly. It's like,
No, no, not at all. I mean, what was your favorite of like the best picture nominees this past year? Which one was your favorite?
ah, this past year.
Yeah, the most recent Oscars that happened.
Oh, it was okay. I would say Dune. I
I completely agree. Like Dune for sure was like the spectacle. That was a spectacle piece, and that's like it's interesting. It's like that's what Hollywood thrives on. That's what makes them money. Is that the spectacle is like the seeing it on the IMAX screen. Hearing the sound design and everything else like that. That's why people go to the movies to escape. That's like the conversation that I have with a lot of my friends and filmmakers is like, I want to go to the movies to go to another place. That's like the types of films that myself and my producing partner and co-director Connor Ryan have in common. Like for us is like we want to make movies where people can escape and think about something else and kind of put themselves in that character's headspace or put themselves in that character's position of like, yeah, being the hero, being in an impossible position, but overcoming it, the high stakes and everything else like that. Just very much like the Joseph Campbell, like a hero with a thousand faces. Just kind of getting in that same kind of feel. And I think Dune really portrayed that a lot. And I agree, like Demi Moore should have been like awarded, for her performance. Honora was fine. I didn't mind it. I think Mikey Manson did a fine job. Um, but for me, I just felt like it was like I've seen this movie before. You know,
yes.
maybe not in the same kind of way, but I've seen this movie before. Substance, on the other hand, wildly inventive in a lot of different ways. Uh, Being nominated for as many awards as it was for being a body horror film, incredible. It's really cool.
Yes.
Um, but yeah, I completely agree. My favorite film outside of like the big ones that were mentioned, my favorite film, and it won Best International Film, was I'm Still Here. I don't know if you saw.
Oh,
Did you see that one?
no, I haven't seen that one, but I watched the trailer and I know the synopsis. So, yeah.
I highly recommend watching it. I put it upon myself to go out and watch all the Best Picture nominees, just because I wanted to see him. And also too, another film that I highly recommend that was nominated for Best Picture didn't really get a lot of. I don't think it was seen a lot, but it's called Nickel Boys. And that film, highly inventive. It was shot all from first person perspective.
Oh, wow.
Camera work is incredible. The lighting's beautiful. The performances are excellent. Um, the story is really heartfelt and heavy. Um, for sure, I can't remember the name of the director, but he's somebody to watch for sure because he was a photographer first and he became a filmmaker. So he has an eye for composition and lighting, but he also directed really great performances considering that, the audience is like one of two characters that are in the film. But there's still a connection and there's still like the story that comes through. So like those are my two takeaways like from this past year's Oscars is probably trying to highlight and kind of tell more people about those two films since I don't think they were widely released in the States. So
Yeah, interesting. And one more thing I've seen the trend, at least in last 10 years. One year they will give it to the spectacle movie or the movie with the most eyeballs, like Oppenheimer or Everything Everywhere at Once. And then literally the next year they will give it to an indie film that is not a lot of people have heard of, like Moonlight
yeah.
or Anora. So I don't know why this trend is happening, but it is kind of it is kind of making it more predictable, and people don't like predictable.
No, no, that's very true. Yeah, yeah, no, for sure. And also too, I think it has to do with a lot with like how they're taking in votes and stuff. Because I know a lot of the people that do vote don't really watch all of the films in the categories that they're voting within, like of their represented party. So it's kind of interesting in that sense too, which I think should be changed about that. If you're going to vote for something, you should have at least seen it to put in your vote for it to count. but I think that's a whole nother thing too. And I think that, the Oscars were created, or the awards were created just to separate the artist from the craftsman. So, I mean, it has its own things too. And, maybe the Oscars, don't have as much, merit as they used to. I mean, because, case in point, I mean, Scorsese didn't win an Oscar for Raging Bull, didn't win an Oscar for Goodfellas, didn't win an Oscar for The Aviator. It took him all the way until 2006 to be not, to win for The Departed, a adaptation, a remake of a Hong Kong film. It's just like, what is this?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, where you have, yeah, it's ridiculous. And even like, I don't think Ridley Scott has won an Oscar either, which is crazy to me. I mean, well, the year that he should have won in 2000 for Gladiator, Steven Soderbergh won, and he was nominated for two times. He was nominated for Aaron Brockovich, and he was nominated for Traffic.
Hmm.
And in recent years, or in memory serves me right, most of the time when you're nominated for two for the same award in the same year, you kind of cancel yourself out. So nothing against Steven Soderbergh, but I think Gladiator is like a classic Hollywood sword and sandal type of picture. But hey, they wanted to give it to the new kid on the block, I guess. Even
Yeah,
though
and
you've been directing for a while.
the worst one of them all was like when Saving Private Ryan didn't won the Best Picture, and
Yeah.
Shakespeare in Love won, and
Yeah.
even the presenter Jack Nicholson at the time was surprised. Like everyone thought that it's gonna win,
Yeah.
and it's
Yeah.
just
There you go with Harvey Weinstein doing his influence of getting out, gathering his votes and everything. I think that's something that a lot of people don't really know is like you pay to bid, your bid to get a nomination. So the more that you bid for it, the more money you put in for it, for a film or a technical award or a performance, the more likely you'll get nominated. So it's just a matter of a studio is going to want to put the money up for you to get nominated for an award, or for a film to get nominated for an award. So
yeah, that makes sense, and it's just. Yeah, we can talk about it forever if you want to, because
yeah,
there's a
we could. We
lot of
totally could.
movies and a
I
lot of
know.
actors that should win and should not have win. So I don't know.
Yeah, I mean that's why they got the Golden Globes, right? Which I think that the Golden Globes kind of gotten in a kind of way like they have the two different categories: best comedy, musical comedy, best, drama, best, so
Yeah, that's much more easier to digest, you know what I mean?
yeah, for sure.
But yeah, there's one thing. And okay, we don't have much time, so we will film the outro later.
Okay.
Okay, just after this one, we can film the outro. It could be like 10 minutes. Um,
Okay.
so if someone young who's listening to it, some 16-year-old, and he wants to make the movie, what will be Dave's advice or words of wisdom to that person?
I believe that you, if you're going to make a film, have a story that you believe in, a story that you feel connected to, and surround yourself with people who are like-minded, who have the same passion as you do, or who are want to kind of like, just play pretend. I mean, because we get to have a cool job. We get to have like a fun thing to do. It's like being a kid. You get to play pretend. Um, you get to kind of escape to a different place. But I think added on to that, I think have fun. I think have fun doing it because we're taking something that doesn't exist and we're making something exist. You're writing a character that has no life and you're bringing it life. You're bringing that character to life. So I think that's what I would suggest. I think going out there and doing it, and it doesn't matter how you do it in the sense of be safe doing it. Don't do anything crazy or illegal, but go out and just find your shots that you want to get. Use a phone, use an old, camcorder, buy something used, save up your money, buy something used off of eBay. It's totally fine. Money back guaranteed on eBay. I highly suggest it. But go and make a movie. It doesn't matter how long. Just go and make something, and you'll discover a lot about yourself and the world.
That's a really, really good advice. Thank you for that. And it was amazing to have you here. And it was an amazing conversation. I would love to talk to you again.
No, it was awesome doing this. I'd love to do it again. It's great having talking film and just talking about, everything film. So yeah, it was my pleasure. Thank you.
Okay. Have a good one, man. Thank you very much for coming to my podcast.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. You too.
Please, 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 I'm begging you. Please. I'm desperate. I don't know what to do. Please subscribe. Subscribe for more content. Subscribe for more content.